And will this become a de-escalating set of circumstances here, or will it continue to escalate? The governor's trying to de-escalate, that's for sure, putting out statements saying as much. But a lot of people are worried. A lot of people are worried for many reasons. Not just the potential detention and removal, deportation of undocumented people who have lived much of their lives here, but also just about civil unrest on the streets of the second largest city in the country, where I think a lot of these folks that are out there want to demonstrate peacefully against immigration enforcement and the priorities of the Trump administration, you guys.
Jacob, I want to talk to you a bit. You mentioned the domestic military action here now. Immigration reporters talk often behind the scenes about this concept of border theater and the fact that so often this country, especially from the right, there's very little in the way of solutions being offered, comprehensive immigration reform. No one seems to be able to figure that out. And instead, what we often are fed are images and a sort of performance of enforcement. And I'm curious, given your background, your history in this work, and the fact I know you've been engaged in conversations about this, when you look at these images, is border theater what you see here? I mean, is there any sense from anyone in LA right now that the National Guard has brought peace, stability, or calm? Or is it something else, Jacob?
The National Guard's mission, Antonia, isn't even to engage with folks. They're basically meant to sit back and protect these federal buildings for now. And if the ICE agents go out, I suppose they could go out with them. But there's a lot of uncertainty about that. You know, as reporters, we're supposed to ask questions. And I mean, one big question, glaring one that I have is, before the National Guard was deployed, what was the purpose of having BORTAC, the elite tactical unit of the Border Patrol, which is meant to patrol quite literally the border of the country? They do things like raid stash houses and go after cartels, look at tunnels along the southwest border, at least one of which I've been down in myself with a specialized team that goes down and does that for the Border Patrol. What was BORTAC reportedly, if the reports are true, doing in the interior of the country, you know, in Los Angeles County yesterday as part of an enforcement effort near a Home Depot, or a reported enforcement effort near Home Depot? You know, I think those are scary images for people to see, and they are meant in many cases to send a message. When you go down to the border and you see a show of force, it's meant to keep people from crossing it. And there's some version of that. I think, you know, your point is a good one, playing out in the interior here. You know, we aren't on the border. We're very far from it. We are in a city, 490 something square mile city, that in which the Los Angeles Unified School District, one of the biggest in the country, has hundreds of languages spoken, thousands of students who are part of mixed status families. And the idea that the Border Patrol itself would be operating, and now the National Guard within the city, that is not something that people here are used to. Are there tensions between the police department here historically, going back to the riots in 1992 and even before that, to the 1960s? Yes, of course there are. Are there marginalized communities here who have tenuous relationships with militarized law enforcement? Of course there is. That's not a secret. That's a part of Los Angeles history as much as anything else. But the idea that the Border Patrol in 2025, even though it was warned by the Trump administration that this might and could happen, now that it is, I do think that there's an element of seeing these images on the street. I've gotten texts from immigrants myself today, people who are not U.S. citizens, telling me how scared they are, asking me if I know where immigration enforcement activities are taking place. Of course, I don't. These are closely held to the vest. And I guess what was being expressed to me is what's being felt by so many people. They see these people on the streets. They see these agents on the streets, and they want answers. And I think in some form and function, that's what the people that are on the left-hand side of your screen on Alameda Street, down outside the Metropolitan Detention Center, and on the other side of the building, I might add, I don't know if we have the aerials, but up below City Hall in Grand Park, where it looks like hundreds, if not more, people were assembled earlier for a big peaceful protest. They want to know what's going on in the city of LA and in the state of California, and that is why I think Karen Bass called me earlier to let me know that you know, she believes that Tom Homan's words are without justification, that this is a provocative act by the White House, and Governor Newsom has said the same thing.
We're going to have to sneak in a quick break right now, but everyone, please stay with us. David, Jacob, we are back with more breaking coverage after a very short break.
we continue to encourage that.
Yeah. And listen, you underscore peacefully. And of course, there are some people there who are there peacefully. There are others, as we have seen on the video, and as you noted with the bottles throwing, who are, and they're banging on, we're looking at them right now, banging on a car, that are more aggressive, that are even violent in some cases. Are you concerned at all about the safety surrounding all of this, that the people who are out there, officers and peaceful protesters, will be safe?
Well, of course, we want everybody to be safe, especially in an environment like this. But this is the president's point in setting the National Guard, is to increase tensions, is to try to bait people into doing things that are violent, that are unlawful. This is a president who didn't even send in the National Guard on January 6th when there was insurrectionists storming the Capitol. So this president has really no credibility when it comes to law and order. And we know from law enforcement on the ground, they didn't ask for help. They don't need the help. They certainly don't need the National Guard there. And so it's really a situation where the president is just trying to, show some power. We did hear that federal officials have said that they're going to do these enforcements for 30 days. So this is something that everyone is going to, of course, be following and watching, very vigilant in their communities, calling the local immigration number, for example, Churla, who can send out lawyers on the spot. We just need to end these mass deportation and these raids that are happening in Los Angeles. We need to end the militarization, send the National Guard home. We need to make sure people have access to counsel, which is not happening right now in these detention facilities. And we in Los Angeles can protest peacefully, and we certainly don't need the National Guard. If we need it, we know who to call, and our governor knows how to pick up the phone and call for that help. He hasn't done so because it's not needed, and really this is just an abuse of power by this president.
All right, Congresswoman, thank you so much. As we were talking, we're watching what appears to be an arrest taking place there as they push this line back. Congresswoman Nanette Berrigan, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. And again, as I mentioned, you are looking live at the streets of downtown Los Angeles near that federal detention facility. We see what appears to be an arrest of one of the protesters there on the right. You are looking at LAPD officers who have been, over the course of the last 20 minutes or so, pushing back this line, and we have seen a lot of clashes, frankly, as they have done so. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Smells amazing.
Oh my God. That is so good.
Should we dig in?
Eva Longoria searching for Spain tonight at 9 on CNN.
I brought in Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein.
Those who tried me felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein. 30 grams protein, 1 gram sugar, and a protein blend to feed muscles up to 7 hours.
Hey, did you find the manual?
Yes!
Summon Dale!
Who's Dale?
American Home Show now provides video chat with live repair experts for home fixes over the phone. Let's go fix that oven.
Who are you protecting?
We are the voice for the ones that can't speak! We are here for the voice of the ones that can't speak!
Descendants of Operation Wetback! Your families are next!
Why are you using that? Why are we at such a
Here in LA, as more and more protesters grow and there are protests planned.
Stop aiming your gun at people like this!
wrong side of history, they're going to air all you fuckers out on the news.
We are peacefully protesting, and this only makes
your duties to the people.
You are
and you find that shit funny.
You are.
It's real funny. Big old fucking smirks on your face. The proudest motherfucker here.
Against cruelty against children, against women. You took an oath to the Constitution, not to a man. You took an oath to the Constitution.
You guys get all this bullshit just to back the fuck like us.
You are a politician.
Bitches, dog. Bunch of fucking bitches is what you are.
Where are you at? International law, right? You scared to actually fight? You actually have guarding against our citizens? Having pregnant women lose their babies. Pregnant women are losing their lives.
Yeah.
You understand that they're against the system.
The fucking families over here.
Have the right to live. We all have the right to live. But you guys are going to protect them.
Our streets! Our streets! Our streets!
Not okay.
Hey, take pictures of all their faces. All their faces. All them fuckers, dog. This is Governmental! Hey, low key, y'all leave this You're in Los Angeles. Remember your constitutional rights. You can defy the orders of your if they are illegal. You follow the 10,000. You know that.
Okay, shit. Stop calling you.
Remember your oath.
Protecting who?
You do not have to follow a constitutional order. You are on United States land. You are not in a war zone. You were unconstitutionally sent here by a fake fucking president.
Chavalas, porquería, estúpido. Because you're fucking people.
Remember your oath,
Brown, fucking stupid asses. Look at you guys on the wrong fucking
We are
side.
not your enemy.
The wrong fucking side.
We are not your enemy.
Wake the fuck up.
I used to wear it. We are not your enemy.
How many fifth graders?
We're your neighbor. We're your brother. We're your sister. First Sergeant, remember your oath. First Sergeant, remember your oath. Remember your oath, cop. Remember your oath, cop. You guys should be turning your back on that. I know you remember your oath. You got to go there. Turn back on that. I know you're hurt. I can see it in your face. You don't want to be here. Hey, you guys somewhere, brother. You guys should all turn your back on them. All of you. Look at you. Your friends, the police officers, marched with the people. Why aren't you guys marching with the people? There's power to what you guys do. There's power to your actions. You guys can decide to march with us, and you don't. You guys are proud.
All right, so if it's okay with all of you, hi everyone. By the way, hi. I've been watching this, and this is really upsetting how this has been unfolding. And this is exactly what Trump wanted. He wanted to create a situation and a scene where he can enforce military action against American citizens. So far, there's been no violence exchanged in any real way or any capacity. There's been guns kind of fired at civilians, but this is what he wants. This is what he wants. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to watch. I'm watching 3 different streams right now. I got CNN on, I got MSNBC on, then this is also the AP. And so if it's okay with you, what we're going to do is just bop around between them all, because the AP is obviously there on the scene. But we can also go to CNN, who has different view and coverage, and MSNBC as well. So I'm really sorry that this is happening. This is not the America I know. I hope this is a wake-up call for a lot of Americans, but that's why we have to show this, because we have to show people what is actually happening in this country right now. So let's just go back to this coverage, and I'll be here in the background.
Dismiss! Nigga! Fuck you guys!
Who's going to stand and risk being arrested and who's going to go home? That will generally thin out the crowd even more. But you got a big crowd here, and this is going to take a bit either way.
Yeah. And I think something you pointed out there that is key in all of this as well is trying to create some distance between these protesters and the National Guard, which are armed as you with those particular weapons. And there is this question of what are the rules of engagement for this federalized National Guard? What is their training in this type of situation versus a local law enforcement's training, as you're saying, that may be more used to crowd disbursement and that sort of thing?
Well, that is it. And we don't know what those rules of engagement are. The President of the United States was asked, and this was broadcast on our air, and he didn't say specifically what those rules of engagement are. But we're a country that has lived through things like Kent State in 1970, where National Guardsmen opened fire on demonstrators. The rules of engagement sometimes are set on parameters like you can do what they are doing to you. So if they are throwing things, you can deploy gas or rubber bullets. If shots are fired at you, you can fire shots back. But I mean, this puts us on a precipice of no police department in the United States of America, in any major city, would deploy a force at a demonstration, whether peaceful or disorderly, that was fully armed with M4 rifles and 30-round magazines, dressed in green fatigues. That is not how police departments deal with disorder. So I think that if you're Mayor Karen Bass, if you're Jim McDonald, the chief of the LAPD, what you don't want is to be becoming the backup enforcement for immigration and customs enforcement. But what you also don't want is to cede control of your city to the military. And what you're seeing now is, the skirmish line rushing forward towards people, presumably to make arrests, and people rushing away from them, which is one of the tactics that they're using to try and disperse the crowd by keeping it moving in directions other than back down Alameda.
Right. Okay, John Miller, stay with us as we are actively watching Los Angeles police try to disperse this crowd, which they've now said this gathering is an unlawful assembly. We're going to have Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass with us when we come back from this next break.
What is unlawful about this? What is unlawful? Americans have the right to assemble. What is unlawful about this? It is so crazy to me that they have tanks there. The National Guard is in military fatigues. For what? for people that are just carrying signs against this inhumane way that they are getting rid of migrants in our country. Bonker says, what is unlawful is that the National Guard have not been mobilized legally. That's right. Like, they shouldn't be there. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I wish I lived in LA. I'd be down there right now. I'd be down there right now. Vision says, oops. Yeah, there are a lot of you typing at once, so it's hard to... here it is. Vision says, Trump provoked this. He did this on purpose. We have a lawful right to assemble in this country. This is the current administration showing how weak they are. Absolutely. They can't handle 2,000 protesters. They can't handle 2,000 protesters in the street. They got to send the military against Americans because of some protests. So weak. So weak. And yes, unlawful. Unlawful. Nick is on that same thing, saying this is weakness from the Trump campaign. I wish it were still the campaign and not the administration. The Trump administration, they have no plan. They are afraid. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is what I'm thinking too. Someone said that this is going to happen in all major cities. I think this, yeah, not even major cities in California. I think this is Trump's plan. This is what he wants to do. He wants to militarize and take control of our cities. This is what he intends to do. All right, Michael Cohen is on MSNBC right now, so let's just check in with
on Musk. This is just a sideshow.
This is reality TV.
Reality TV. He's the best at it.
I don't know. It seems like he's been, if it's just reality TV, it's hurting a lot of lives, and it's been doing so.
Which he doesn't care about, by the way. Which
no,
he doesn't care about.
Obviously.
This doesn't mean anything to him. He actually wants to see people clashing with police, so in that way he can justify this action. But this is all distraction. And we know with Trump, there's two things that he's great at: distraction and deflection.
You also argue in this piece that he views protest criticism as treason. That's serious.
Yeah, it's treason to him. He doesn't care about anything other than you following his directives. And his directive is he needs to show the American people that when he said that he wants mass deportations, he needs his numbers. He wasn't getting the numbers. So what does he do? He creates a scenario like this. There was no reason to deploy the National Guard. Police could have handled it. They didn't need to show up in riot gear to Home Depot. All of this, again, it's theater.
Yeah, but okay, my view on this is that he's been looking for an excuse to have a confrontation, not independent of the fight with Elon Musk, which actually brings me to a question that I have for Elora, which is how should the public be responding when they see, for example, masked armed men show up without badges, without warrants, without identifying themselves, and take someone off the streets? When they see something that looks like it might be extra legal, or that it's unclear what's actually going on there, what should people be doing, particularly U.S. citizens, to not take Donald Trump's bait and not give him an excuse, essentially, to escalate further?
It is extremely important for those who have legal status, particularly U.S. citizens, to be upstanders in that moment. Although it might be terrifying to watch, I ask that U.S. citizens who are witnessing these moments remain calm, video and tape everything that is happening. Try to get identifying details for the officers, for the vehicles, of the location where a raid is taking place. Then U.S. citizens or other bystanders can report that information to ICE hotlines, ICE reporting hotlines that let community members know where an ICE raid has happened. The most important information is details, not something that will unnecessarily stoke fear, not something that might be a rumor, but grounded information. And the video footage is really important. We saw that in Rumsaya Ozturk's arrest. The footage of her arrest, the footage of...
Real quick, I hate this shit. Where did it go? Where did it go? I didn't tune in to listen to you, Keith. Well, what does it say in the corner right there? What does it say right there? It's the Keith Edwards channel. If you don't want to be here and you don't want to hear me speak, then you can go somewhere else. There are plenty of places where you can get lots of content. There is more content than people can ever watch in their entire lives. If you're here right now, then you're going to have to deal with my voice. That's why a lot of people are here, is to hear me. That's why I have 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, because people listen to me. If you don't like that, go somewhere else. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
For the American public to understand how these immigration enforcement actions are affecting babies, toddlers, children, families, ordinary people who contribute to every aspect of American life. And understanding this, building empathy for the people whose lives are being completely destroyed, might give those of us who care about what's happening a chance at the midterm elections.
All right, just stay with us for 1 second. I do want to cross back over to Jacob Soboroff, just because we're seeing these pictures, live pictures of the 101. Jacob, you're familiar with the terrain there and obviously the importance of that highway. Talk to us a little bit about these images. I believe the highway now has been shut.
Hold on. For some reason, it's muted. Oh, let's try that again. Sorry, everyone. Share screen.
Force and a stronger posture to get this under control, so you can, and I know your governor has said that they don't want, that he's formally requested that the National Guard troops go back, that they're not needed. Were those things correlated?
Well, I absolutely agree with the governor in asking that the troops be withdrawn. I don't think that is the way to bring peace in Los Angeles. I think that our law enforcement officers can handle this situation, but I just have to repeat again, it's a feeling here of intentional chaos in a situation that had not broken out to violence, short of a few people, and there's nothing unusual about that, and our police departments can manage that, but it is as though troops were rolled out in a provocative manner.
Yes, this is happening right now.
I do not see how that is helpful to Los Angeles right now. It's not the type of resources that we need in the city.
You and the governor both said this is that the presence of those National Guard troops is incendiary. Is what we're seeing right now what you were afraid would happen?
Well, absolutely. I mean, again, it's hard to describe the depth of the fear in the city because of the raids. I mean, you had a Home Depot day laborers center where people were literally running through the parking lot, and it was reported that they had been chased. We had a graduation that was taking place a few blocks away. I know that there were parents who were conflicted with whether or not they should even go to their own kids' graduation, because maybe they would be detained, maybe it would be disrupted. The last time this happened several years ago in the first administration, you had kids that wouldn't go to school because they were afraid their parents wouldn't be there. You had
Thank you,
people that
Mary.
wouldn't go
Can we
to
get
work.
some love in the chat for Mary, who just donated €5?
People on the west side
Thank you, Mary.
of town, far away from downtown, who might employ people in their houses that have green cards that are there legally, but now people are even concerned about that. Just because I have a green card, does that mean I'm protected? Will I be picked up too? Will I be detained? Are my relatives that are detained, are they even still in the United States? We know they're not in Los Angeles, they're in an adjacent county, but these people don't even know if their family members are still here or whether they were flown back, quote unquote, home. I would argue that Los Angeles is home, or maybe they were even sent to another country that they have no relationship with. like the people that were sent to Venezuela, and they are not Venezuelan. So this is a sense of chaos and fear, and it's just the last thing that Los Angeles needs right now at this point in time. This is not helpful.
Yeah, I want to ask you an additional logistical question. This is a question we're trying to get to the bottom of, which is these National Guard troops they're federalized at this point. Are you aware of what their rules of engagement are? And is the LAPD actively in coordination with the National Guard at this point?
Yes, the LAPD is in coordination. And as I understand it, their mission is to protect federal property, not to be in the streets where protests might be taking place far from the federal building, but their mission is to protect the federal building downtown and the federal building in Westwood. But again, it's the intimidation factor, it's the anger that people feel that then gets directed to the guards. And how ironic has it been, because the guards, the National Guard, has been in the fire area and everybody has just been applauding and cheering them. And now to have this situation take place, it's just really unfortunate.
All right, Mayor Karen Bass, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
All right, we're going to go back over to MSNBC.
And
where
stay
they're
with
now
us. We're going to
reporting
continue to track what's
that,
coming out of Los Angeles. We're going to take a break.
The police have stopped traffic.
As well, neither the Sheriff's Department nor LAPD participates in those immigration enforcement raids. So if they were to continue, this is just an educated guess. My guess is that they would happen without the knowledge of the local law enforcement and move forward in areas that, as you said, probably.
Absolutely, Thomas. That is the right vibe. I will never stop speaking out against this fascist regime. Yes, the second we stop speaking out is the second that they win. And so we have to keep pushing back and highlighting this and speaking up and speaking out. And I'm so proud of those protesters who are there right now doing so much of this work, highlighting how corrupt and anti-American they are. And Thomas, you're doing exactly the same thing. So thank you for being here and thank you for showing up.
There on the 101, and most likely that would be the highway patrol, while the LAPD maintains their positions up above. And from my vantage point right now, again, we have no reason to call this a riot. We have no reason to call this violent. Many of these protesters started peacefully earlier today in Mariachi Plaza in Boyle Heights, the historic center of immigrant life in Los Angeles, where at one point it was a Japanese American community, a Jewish American community, and today is known for being a largely the center of Mexican American culture in Los Angeles, as Sunset Boulevard turns into Cesar Chavez Boulevard and stretches towards East Los Angeles. This is a moment in Los Angeles history, and in 2005, 2006, we had 500,000 people on the streets in what was called the Gran Marcha in support of comprehensive immigration reform during the first Bush administration. By no means are these protests as large, and we've seen large protests in support of immigrants' rights in Los Angeles before. But there's something about this moment that feels like it's the next chapter in the history of that story that is sort of unfolding before our eyes.
I'm so sorry.
Jacob, thank you. Our panel's going to stick around. We're going to continue to track the breaking news out of Los Angeles and bring you the latest after this quick break.
On the ground now. My mic is low. Okay. Is that better? Is that better? Test, test, test. Better? Okay. Thanks for letting me know. Oh, wow. Holy shit. Someone gave 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Let me just find that. E, thank you so much. Can you leave us some W's in the chat for E, who just gifted 5 memberships? Thank you so much, E. And thank you to EB for the €5 and super sticker. Thank you so much. I have to say, I mean, I have been talking about what's been happening here. There was also something that happened in Minneapolis where protesters pushed back on this. And I feel two ways about this. It's one, it just doesn't look like the country I recognize. But two, I am so proud of the protesters for being there, for pushing back, for being so courageous. Do you know how brave you have to be in front of armed military who are ready and willing to do the worst? And they are there not only to defend our rights and our Constitution and our freedom of speech, but they're also there to help people who cannot help themselves. So it's just like it's like two emotions at once, where I'm incredibly proud of Americans, but I'm also incredibly sad that we have to be living through this. Ruben says, where is it go? Ruben said the military, sorry, I missed it, but Ruben said the military shouldn't even be there. And yes, there's absolutely no reason why the military should be there. There's no reason. I believe they got there late this morning, and by that time, the protesters and everything, there was peace. There's nothing even going on. There was nothing going on. And then the military showed up. Okay, let's go back to CNN, who has let's see here, that tweet from the president goes on to say
that he's directing members of his administration to, quote, take all such action.
Thank you for the $10, Linda.
Los Angeles from the
caught your videos early. We're going live. Good work. Good trouble. Thank you so much.
So the president very clearly there entrenching in this position after deploying the National Guard troops to LA, which, according to these Democratic lawmakers, has only inflamed
Thank you so much. 80% prime.
I think the question
now
stop is,
voting
as
against
the
their
president
interests. I will hope.
These riots and these clashes with LAPD, whether he uses that as a pretext to deploy additional troops to the scene there. You have heard from the Democratic
additional troops
governor
for what?
of California
For what
calling
reason?
on President Trump to withdraw these troops. There's no indication that the president plans to do that. And in fact, as he was heading over to Camp David, the president said, we're going to have
violence.
Troops everywhere. That's a quote, Jessica.
Yeah, and also interesting that he's using that insurrectionist language. There are questions around whether he will use the Insurrection Act. Kevin Liptak, thank you so much from the White House. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
To this question, since this is at the nexus of politics and law, what should the Democratic mayor of California, of Los Angeles, and the Democratic governor of California should be doing right now? You have a president who I think we can all agree to some extent is agitating this situation. He's escalating this situation. He's, as Governor Newsom has said, he's goading these protesters because he wants an excuse to invoke or maybe escalate even more the Insurrection Act or even deploy the military. What should they be doing?
De-escalate. Do the exact opposite of what Trump wants. Tell the protesters either get off the highways.
I'm sorry. I love Michael Cohen. What the hell is he doing there? What does he have to tell us about this? Like, is he the only person they could find at MSNBC? Is he the expert on constitutional law and invoking the insurrection? I mean, I don't mean to make fun of him, but I just feel like this is such a serious moment. Why do we have Michael Cohen on MSNBC talking about this? I understand he understands who Donald Trump is, but I just feel like we could have a little bit more expert of an opinion.
Officials, the anger is real, and the people are hurt, and the communities are being torn apart. I'm not even sure they're seeing this from a political calculation as much as it is a purely emotional and raw sentiment.
Right. People want to register their peaceful political dissent. They want the Trump administration and the American public to know that what the administration is doing to people and communities in Los Angeles is absolutely unacceptable. It's a really important example of the people taking to the streets and pushing back against the worst excesses of the Trump administration.
So, Alora, a related question about all of this, which is that Tom Homan has said, including to our colleague Jacob Soboroff, that ICE is only there to go after criminals and that there are collaterals who might get swept up in these raids. Is that borne out by the data that we've seen so far?
Absolutely not. So the Trump administration did at first prioritize going after people with criminal convictions and those who they said posed a threat to national security. But what we've seen in recent weeks is all people who are undocumented or who, for whatever reason, have lost their lawful status in the United States are targets. This includes individuals, this includes families, this includes children, babies, toddlers. Everyone is now a target. This is why families are being picked up in immigration court. This is not a targeted operation that is solely based
Trev, for the
and
$2.
focused on those
Thank
who
you
have
so
criminal
much.
convictions.
And Michael, can I ask about rhetoric, though, here, too? We talked about this as a team before the show began tonight, but we're starting to hear administration officials use words like insurrectionists to describe what we're seeing here. That word in particular, from an administration that has downplayed what happened on January 6th, I think hits people hard at home. Then they use words like invasion. All while we're also supposed to celebrate the fact that the border is more secure than ever. Crossings are down.
Wow.
How do his supporters hold diametrically opposed pieces of information in their head? Like the cognitive dissonance, how does it function? And then also, what do you make of the use of these words by these people that you know?
Sure. I mean, these words are targeted words, and they're basically being used by the Trump administration to ignore what they were responsible for, right? So you had the January 6th insurrectionists. He never called them insurrectionists. He called them patriots. We're not watching as anybody's breaking into buildings. They're not breaking into the Capitol. They're not smashing, windows and doors. They're not building gallows in order to hang Mike Pence or kill Nancy Pelosi. What they want is an understanding of policy, the policy for immigration. That's what they're really looking for here. But again, I keep saying, if you really want to de-escalate this, have Gavin Newsom tell everybody, just go home. Give it a week. Just go home. Don't give Trump what he wants. This is exactly what he wants.
What do you guys think?
Michael Cohen,
Do you
and Laura
think
Mukherjee,
the
thank you so much. Greatly
protesters
appreciate your
should go home?
insights and staying with us throughout this breaking news
Do you think
hour.
they should stay there? What
Let's
do you think
reset
is the
here
right
for a
thing to
moment
do?
because it's just about a minute after 7 p.m. on the East Coast. It is 4 p.m. on the West Coast. This is the second hour of Weekend Prime.
He's wrong, right? Yeah. They should stay. Thank you. I'm so glad you guys are saying that. When I heard him say that, I was like, I feel like they shouldn't go home. Like, they have every right to be there. I don't think they should get violent, and they aren't. Thank you, James, for becoming a member of the channel. Reagan created the foundation for this current GOP. That's so true. Josette Rice Lopez says, my grandfather fought in World War III, I think in World War II, and was injured but re-enlisted in the Third Korean War. He went POWMIA and gave everything for us. Time to be strong. Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for the $5. Thank you, $3. Laura. Breaking generational curse. This is what you call good people standing up for their fair rights and others standing for them. January 6th, the worst violence. This is peaceful. Exactly. White folks are the front line. Go, go, go. Yeah, there are a lot of white people up there. See you June 14th. Absolutely. Who here, I want to know, you can either write yes, put in a blue heart, an American flag, but who here is protesting on June 14th? I think we need to make this protest bigger than ever. Who here is going to be protesting on June 14th?
pushed back this way by LAPD. I want to stress the lion's share of the crowd
Yes,
control
we have
work
to make
is
this-
done at this point
we have
by
to make June 14th
LAPD
the
because
biggest
they
ever
are
now,
the ones
baby.
who have physically forcibly pushed everyone away from the federal building and the Metropolitan Detention Center where those National Guard troops
Bigger
are
than he
posted.
can get
Now,
cops
I don't know how much you
and
can see
military
behind me, but
everywhere.
one of the things that I'm looking at that's striking me here is, you know, Eamon, you asked me the question before, what's the message here or what's the demand? Why are
Hold on.
this? It was catalyzed, no question, by these large-scale ICE enforcement actions in LA, a city, the lifeblood of which is immigrants, and not just immigrants, but undocumented people, generations worth of
I need to get a
undocumented people, their
pop-up
families,
blocker.
and their loved ones. But behind me, you'll see plenty of people with Palestinian flags wearing keffiyehs. You'll see people with signs making reference to not just these latest ICE actions in Los Angeles, but the invocation of the Alien Enemies Act, the deportation without due process of people from Venezuela to El Salvador, all of the
Mish
really
says, "Mad love
unprecedented
and
steps that the
respect
Donald
for
Trump
protesters.
administration
Thank
has
you for all
taken
you. Thank
when
you
it
for
comes to
being here.
immigration,
$10 for supporting
including
so much.
at this
Thank
point,
you
as
so
of
much.
today,
Karen
deploying
says,
National
"Keep up
Guard
the
troops
good
to Los
trouble,
Angeles
Keith. Thank
without the
you.
permission and without
Karen.
contravening the wishes of
you,
the
Sherry,
governor
for becoming a member.
of the
And
state.
thank you,
First time that that's
Karen.
happened
Wow,
since
lots of Karens in the
1965.
chat for
Look,
$5.
you know, we talk about this. Governor Newsom tries to tell these people, you know, don't give Donald Trump what he wants by protesting in a way that could be portrayed as unruly. They are protesting in a way that I think can reasonably be portrayed as unruly. But you can't really ask a sort of mass movement like this to think, to sort of act or to sort of think about what Donald Trump wants or doesn't want. They are doing this because there is pent-up anger. They're doing this because these are people who have been living under a set of conditions for years, and they find what's happening now unacceptable, and they don't necessarily see themselves as being, you know, a chess piece on this political board. They are
Protesting
doing
works.
what
It
they're
brought
doing
Abrego
because they've
Garcia
been
back.
pushed to this
If people
point
stop
by
protesting or
you know,
talking about it, he
a
would still
number
be
of
there.
factors,
Yes,
not
protesting
just
is the
you know,
only
not just what we're
answer
seeing
to
today,
this.
not just what we've been seeing in the last couple of days, guys.
David Noriega, thank you so much for your insight, and please stay safe tonight. Joining us here on set is senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez. Gabe, thank you so much for being here. So we were just talking moments ago with Michael Cohen, Trump's former personal attorney, who argues that a lot of this is about sort of manufacturing a particular image. He described it as a reality show. I'm curious if you agree with that, see elements of that here, and what you're hearing from the White House tonight.
Well, I heard about Michael Cohen talking about how this could be perceived as a distraction. Certainly, we're not talking about Elon Musk anymore. We're not talking about the big, beautiful bill anymore. Certainly, it has been effective from that point of view. It wasn't just this, though. Remember on Friday, Kilmore Abrego Garcia was brought back to the U.S. and charged with new felony counts as well. The Trump administration is now once again talking about what it wants to talk about, immigration.
Oh my God, I'm gonna shoot someone. All right, let's just go here. Right.
I need everybody on this road to listen carefully for safety instructions. If there's like going from over this program, they're going to start shooting this way. You're behind cover. You need to duck down. You understand me? You can be hurt out here. This is about safety. You want to think all the same way you can. Make sure if they start shooting, you take cover. You get down.
Looking at the National Guard troops that came there overnight. If there are clashes, and we don't know if there will be
Hassan's
again
down there
this evening, this is something that the Trump
Let's go look at
administration
that.
wants to see because it furthers their argument about immigration, and they will make the argument that this is what the American people elected them for. Trump supporters want him in the White House in order to
So this is one of the biggest streamers in definitely the United States, who is apparently live streaming down there right
A
now.
lot of truckers have shown support. Here. I've noticed that. Here, I'll hold it.
I just want to see his POV for a second.
I'm always in there. Yeah.
All right, we'll switch back. Sorry.
Build the wall was so effective for him. And yes, when Stephen Miller, latched on to President Trump back in 2015, they are simpatico. I found it very interesting that, was it a couple of weeks ago, months ago, it all blurs together. But whenever the National Security Advisor, Mike Wallace, was on the outs, there was a talk, are you going to make Stephen Miller National Security Advisor? Right. And Donald Trump said, it'll be a step down, because that's how huge that he views Stephen Miller as his right-hand man, essentially. He's the White House Deputy Chief of Staff. Of course, there's Susie Wiles, but Stephen Miller, when it comes to this topic, is in lockstep with President Trump. I don't know if it's fair to call him a shadow president in this, but I think he is executing what Donald Trump wants, and they are completely simpatico in this. Talking about the word insurrection, the word invasion, the Alien Enemies Act, those are all terms that we have now heard over and over again, really since the first administration. But now that President Trump has been reelected, they see this as, basically the American people, their voters, saying you have a mandate, in their view, to go ahead and put these policies forward.
There is some questions as to whether or not the American people voted for these types of deportations and these types of enforcement operations. And polls suggest that, yes, while there may be support for the deportation of criminals and gangs and gang members, they're not supportive of deporting young children who have cancer. Right. Or, I mean, where I'm going with this, right?
Absolutely.
So the administration is perhaps here overreaching a little bit politically with what it thinks its mandate is, because we're seeing when they go after cities like Los Angeles and Chicago and New York, there is a very strong community pushback.
And certainly, look, and you're absolutely right that the rhetoric has shifted over the last couple of months. You just saw Jacob Soboroff speaking with Tom Homan yesterday. I spoke with Tom Homan myself in Chicago at the start of this administration, and he was, back then, they were saying, yes, that collateral arrests were possible, but that they were prioritizing those with criminal histories. It's shifted a little bit since then, or quite a bit. And, now they are asking for more money from Congress to really ramp this up even more.
Yeah, we'll see if they get it. Gabe Gutierrez, good to see you as always, my friend. Greatly appreciate your insights as always. Joining us now is California Senator Alex Padilla. Senator Padilla, it's great to have you on the show. I know this is a tense time in your state. I want to start maybe broadly asking you your views and your thoughts about what you're seeing play out before we can dig into some specifics about what California should be doing right now. Obviously, a very difficult time for communities all across the Los Angeles area. How are you feeling about what is happening with what some are describing as an overreach by the federal government with the deployment of the National Guard, and where the situation goes from here as more people are calling for de-escalation?
Yeah, appreciate you having me on, Eamon. And look, there's, I think, a couple of ways we can break this down. There's sort of the Washington political perspective, because as prior guests have pointed out, the Senate Republicans are on the verge of passing what House Republicans just passed in this bill that threatens to cut Medicaid, cut the social safety net for so many, and underwrite tax breaks for billionaires. So to distract from that, it never fails. This is Trump classic playbook. He's not brokering peace between Russia and Ukraine. His tariff war has gone horribly wrong. So when all else fails, he demonizes immigrants again. These raids are not new. Obviously, we've been seeing them around the country for a few months, but increasingly with extremism and cruelty. And that's what people in Los Angeles are responding to. Again, as others have said, you want to focus on violent and dangerous criminals? Great. There's no disagreement there. But when you're going after kids that are dependent on life-saving treatment, when you're going after people in the workplace, in houses of worship, children in schools, that's a whole thing altogether. So in a diverse community like Los Angeles, there's going to be a lot of people who are passionate about defending fundamental rights and due process, and to speak up when they see that not being respected. And so for all the people in Los Angeles, I do say protest peacefully, but protest because Donald Trump wants one of two things. He wants people to be quiet, to suck it up and ignore what's happening, let him do whatever he wants. That's not in our DNA. The other thing he wants is for people to, yes, maybe get out of hand so that he has the justification to escalate and increase the use of force. Look what happened in his first term. Look what happened on January 6th. We've got to call out the hypocrisy. He did not once say insurrectionists for the people who stormed the Capitol and attacked attacked police officers. But one protester who gets a little bit out of hand in Los Angeles, and all of a sudden he's going to bring in the Marines, that's beyond.
I put Hassan.
Senator.
I put Hassan on. Everyone got mad, so we're just going to keep watching this.
Cut by the big, beautiful bill that passed the House. The bill also allocates a lot more funding to immigration enforcement. That's actually one of the big expenses in this bill. Could you talk a little bit about what that says about your colleagues' priorities and how that money might get used in the context of these other kinds of enforcement actions that have generated so much opposition going forward?
Right. Look, if we were having a serious substantive policy conversation, I think there is room to discuss increased funding for our immigration system, not just smarter enforcement at the border, utilizing technology, focusing on ports of entry, but also for all the people who have pending cases, whether it's an asylum case, whether it's anything else. There is a need for more immigration judges and hearing officers and counsel, those sorts of things. And let's reduce the backlog. But what the Trump administration is doing is exactly the opposite, shifting it to complete enforcement and aggressive, extreme, cruel enforcement, for that matter, while the backlogs continue to grow because they've shifted resources away from those services and those programs. So happy to have a budget conversation, but let's be smart about where we're going to possibly invest more. But by and large, this supposedly big, beautiful bill, which is anything but, is nothing but increasing funding for law enforcement, for immigration.
Frank, you voted for this? You're a Hispanic American. You voted for this? That seems insane to me that you support this. I think, as the senator said, we all support the fact that they want to get rid of violent criminals and rapists and whoever else, gang members. Sure. I don't know how many there are here, but deport them. But you voted for getting rid of kids with cancer, moms who are just taking care of their children. You voted for that?
Change the news of the day.
Senator, I want to get your direct response to people like Vice President J.D. Vance and others using the term insurrection and insurrectionist to describe what we're seeing happen in Los Angeles right now. Vice President Vance is a smart person. I imagine that he understands the signal he might be sending when he uses a word like that in an administration that has often downplayed what happened on January 6th. Your response to that and what that rhetoric represents in this country right now.
Yeah, well, it's exactly that. It's rhetoric. I mean, if it's one thing that the Team Trump does have going for it, is they are masters of misinformation and disinformation. What's happening in Los Angeles is not an insurrection. What happened on January 6th at the nation's capital was an insurrection. So intellectual dishonesty is nothing new for J.D. Vance or Donald Trump or anybody in the White House right now. They should know better. They should know that in communities like Los Angeles and other parts of California. Look, we are not just the most populous state in the nation, we're the most diverse state in the nation, home to more immigrants than any state in the nation, both mostly documented, some undocumented. But remember, folks, this is also the largest economy of any state in the nation by far, the fourth largest economy in the world, not despite our immigrant population, but because of our immigrant population who contribute so much as workforce, as consumers, as entrepreneurs. That's something to be respected, not insulted.
Senator, I'd like to bring into the conversation Jacob Soboroff would like to ask you a question, our colleague in Los Angeles, who I'm sure you are very familiar with. Jacob?
Senator Padilla, it's good to see you. And in full disclosure, obviously, you and I have known each other for a very long time. I first met you when you were a city councilman here in Los Angeles. You became a member of the California State Senate, the Secretary of State of our great state.
And
now you are the
we can either keep watching this. We can move on. There's live footage on CNN right now. We can see live footage from the AP. We can go to Hassan. I don't really care to listen to the senator anymore. Let me know what you want to do.
We're having today of two immigrants from Mexico who made their way to this country and raised a family in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. As the son of immigrants from Mexico and the senator from the state of California, I wonder if you could take us inside what people who have walked in the shoes that you have or vice versa, are going through today, and what this moment means to both mixed status families, families that have immigrant parents in this country, when they see what's playing out on the streets of Los Angeles today. I know how much you loved your parents and what
There's
they
no
meant to you.
talking, but so Hassan's actually, I'm looking at his feed, and he's actually just, I wanted to point out, he's just over here under the bridge. I think Gavin Newsom, I mean, I don't know how they could do it, but I think their asses need to figure out a way where they can, could they stop sending tax funds to the federal government? How does that work? I think that's something they should explore. Donald Trump is exploring all these different ways to break the Constitution. I think we need to start getting creative too. Like, you want to fucking send military into the into the states, into California? You want to send the military into California? Fine, we're not paying our taxes. Okay, we're the 4th largest economy, bitch. We're not paying our taxes then. How about that? You're not going to pay for the military with our money. Withhold taxes. New York should do the exact same thing. You know, I think every blue state has the highest tax revenue. So it's just like, if you got the power, start to use it. I mean, I do feel like this was the plan all along. These deportations, they knew were eventually going to hit a breaking point where they were going to escalate them and start to deport people who were doing nothing wrong, who weren't criminals. They were going to the workplaces of these people. They weren't going after people who weren't doing anything for our society or who were a drain on our economy. They were going to places. In order to find them, they had to go to the workplaces. And so obviously these people had the capability and the ability to to give to our society and to make our communities better and to thrive and paying taxes. And it really does go to show that they don't have many criminals that they could go after when they started to go after going to schools, going to construction sites, going to restaurants in order to meet this quota that they have. So this seems like it was always the plan, is that they were going to hit a boiling point and then they were going to use this as an excuse to, I don't know. It feels like we're heading towards martial law or an insurrection, the Insurrection Act being invoked. All right, let's go through some of these. Denmark, Kenneth, thank you for being here from Denmark. David Perez, thank you so much. It looks like the live feed has went out for a second. We're just going to go to Hassan.
I think they're moving from the right side and try to fucking capture as many people here. They're moving from the opposing side of the highway, and they're going to try to trap as many people as they can. They're already deploying flashlights. It's not great.
Wow.
It's kind of loud here.
Yeah, this is Hassan Nabi.
They're backing up.
So they've closed off the streets.
Where are they? What's up? Where are they?
And they're trying to contain the protesters.
Stop moving. But they're here. Come with me. Look. What they're going to try and do, they close off the other side of the road. And I think
Darren says, what's going on here? We're told Trump didn't have the power to call on the guard. He does. He absolutely does. Thank you for the $20. Thank you for the $20, Philip. Blue state governors should block all federal access to their states, close the roads, close the facilities, and use the National Guard themselves. Yeah, they should use the National Guard against the military. And I guess then we're in a civil war. Irish Gemini, thank you for the $3, and thank you for the $50. Jay Showa, who says the car horns are freaking insane.
They're fucking. Wait, hold on. Oh, they were starting to walk. Yep. They're gonna come here. Walk and talk. Walk and talk. There's a secondary line back here. Oh, god damn.
Wow. This is fucking nuts. Yeah, I think they're shooting. I'm laughing, yes. No, I think he's probably laughing because it's.
They fucking. They're like, can we get a selfie? Anyway. Sure. They're about to push in. Okay.
That's where it feels like it's heading, Vincent. Badly, it feels like this is heading towards some sort of violent conflict. Yeah, it's nervous laughter, exactly.
No, you do a selfie.
That's a great point, Kat. I was thinking about not paying taxes. How could we get to that to be a real threat? I'm all for it. I didn't mean to pull you up, but yes, we should just. I mean, I do think the states need to do that. But
I was just joking about.
Okay.
Asking for a selfie.
Janine said none of this has to happen. Trump is sitting back with a smirk, eating chips, and watching people suffer. It's intensely gross.
All right, we can get up.
There are reports that on January 6th, when the riots were happening, he was just sitting back, watching it, enjoying it. I am intensely interested to know where he is right now.
Just saying, to the
what is he doing? Who is he talking to? What is he saying?
That was crazy. Like, I felt it in my head. Like the impact of it.
Well, listen, if I lived in LA, I would be down there too right now. So
yeah, see?
I get it. Like, for instance, I mean, I guess I'll ask you all. I live in DC. The military parade is happening on that here. I was gonna film. I was either gonna film or live stream. And I don't want you to all say like, "Oh, Keith is looking for attention." It's like, actually, no. I'm just trying to bring you what is happening as it's happening, and I think I'm going to do that because I think it's important we have folks down there.
That's Channel 5 dude. Yeah. In the balaclava. Black dude in the suit.
All right. Darren says to stay with Hassan. People need to see this. Love you. Thank you. Love you too, Darren.
Yep. Look. Yeah. When they focus their attention here, they're going to get pushed from the left side. I don't think they have the capacity to feel shame. They're pigs. They don't feel shame.
I love that they're shouting shame.
Once again, I want to reiterate that we are lawfully here, engaging in the lawful act.
That is a lawful act. Exactly.
Act of civil disobedience.
I don't know. I think his live stream is pretty good, actually.
Gathering.
It's better than CNN.
And that we're simply here as First Amendment auditors.
Absolutely, First Amendment auditors.
That sounds too libertarian. We're just here. We're just chilling.
They're shouting. They are shouting shame.
We'll grab one over there.
Leonilla.
Now when they.
Well, I don't believe they were blocking the freeway. What happened was that they closed the street, and so they went on it. I think they're trying to contain them.
And they're going on this side too. Now they're closing over there.
Yeah, can we get some shames in the chat? Let's join the protesters. Shame, shame, shame. Shame to all of those National Guard there. They didn't have to be there. They could have said no.
One of them got hit in the head. But he didn't realize he thought it was coming from above. Uh-oh.
NBC News live feed showing the other side where the LAPD cars and lines are on the freeway facing the protesters moving in. All right, let me see if I can find that. Oh yeah, I love seeing all those shames in the chat. Keep going. That's awesome. That's awesome. Shame. I love this. That's the energy.
Look, they're arresting that guy back there. Of course they are.
Well, I have it here, so if anything interesting happens, we will go to this too.
Yeah, only the cops. The cops will come.
I know this is bad timing, but can you check the battery in my backpack?
You know, here's another thing I've been thinking about. None of this shit happened when Biden was president. Did anything like this happen when Biden was president? Nope. 2020. What happened? Twice. We had the George Floyd protests and Trump's insane response to that. Remember holding up the Bible in front of that church, the upside down Bible? And then the insurrection on January 6th. This shit does not happen with Democrats.
Like right here. That's why I found it.
All right, let's just see what NBC is saying.
The name of this frontage road escapes me for right now. I'm sorry. But look at all these officers right now. They're all standing in place. They've been able to get a lot of the
By the way, I just want to say real quick, thank you all so much for being here right now, for watching, and for paying attention. I think a lot of people want to tune this stuff out. They're playing video games, they're watching sports, they're streaming Netflix, but they're not engaged with what is historic stain occurring presently. So thank you all for being there. It's not easy to watch, but it's easier with community.
They're on both sides, actually. But some are on the roads, and just wonder if the traffic is going by, and it seems like we're seeing people riding bicycles in between cars. It seems kind of dangerous, but yeah, we have a lot of spectators out there behind the officers that are lined up, but they're starting to make a move. The thing I don't see in the officers is that it seems overly aggressive. We're not really seeing them move in aggressively.
They're kind of just trying to, it's kind of slowly and methodically push them off the freeway. And Roland, I believe where those officers on the right are, those are the northbound lanes of the 101. The side road, the frontage road, Arcadia Street is just to the right of that. That's where you see that line of protesters, those other vehicles that many of whom may not even realize that they drove right into a major. And
thank you all for your generosity, keeping the stream going. I'm just going to go through some of these again.
They're going to try to push them maybe.
Yabar, thank you for the $5. Thank you for live streaming. Thank you for being here. Dodo, thank you for the $5. Ralph, thank you for the 20 euros. And he says, support from Germany, remain strong. Thank you, Germany. Thank you for your support. I am sorry that America is no longer a nation you can trust right now. Julius gave $10 and said, shame. Thank you for the 50 NOKs. I don't know what that is. Thank you. And Sally, thank you for the $20. You all are being so generous. Thank you so much. Another one just came in. Mandela said Trump deserted everything Newsom can throw back at him for all the trouble he causes Californians. Thank you for the $10, and I appreciate and I agree with the sentiment.
Well, we can kind of follow them as we're talking to you.
Do we want to turn on Fox? Are you all saying turn on Fox? Are you really saying that? Do you really want to see what Fox is saying about this? I don't think we do. Do we want to?
Anything at this point, unless they are just joining the officers who are already lined up there, or something has happened that we literally can't see.
No, right? Yeah.
Roland, they're not south of this Alameda overpass here. That they kind of have them contained, and really there's nowhere other place for these protesters to go.
Okay,
Send
nose,
them back
nose
up
across the
on
board.
right there.
I saw one
We're
yes.
going to stay with your shot right now. We want to get to NBC
Fuck
4's
Fox,
Camilla
exactly.
Rambaldi. She's in
Okay,
our newsroom
okay.
right now with more
No
on
Fox.
the arrests that have been made during these protests. Camilla.
Yeah, hi, Jonathan and Kathy. We're getting some new numbers from the LAPD on some of the arrests that were made
Let's hear.
During these protests, specifically yesterday on Saturday. According to the LAPD, 27 arrests were made on Saturday, June 7th. A spokesperson says that 2 people were arrested for assaulting a peace officer and that 1 was arrested for throwing a Molotov cocktail, where the LAPD says 3 deputies were struck.
All right, let's go back to his
also
song. Let's see what he's
injured
doing.
there. I just checked in with the LAPD to see if we can get some.
What's up? What's up? How are you?
Good, how are you?
Are you on stream?
Yes.
Good.
What are they doing up there? Are they cracking heads?
Well, down here they had a bunch of cops earlier.
Yeah.
They just had them lined up, and then right now they just started forming this one. And then over there they just started forming.
Yeah, they're trying to push people.
But they're just throwing like the flash things up in the air. I think they arrested.
I think I read there are 2,000 people there. I don't know if that's still true, but that's the last number I heard. 2,000.
Nice to be here. Nice meeting you. Nice to meet you, man.
All right, I need you all to get your W button ready, because thank you so much to Heather for the $50. Thank you so much, Heather, for it's so generous. Saying Trump planned to do this. Any cop or soldier who was following his order instead of their oath to the Constitution ought to be ashamed of themselves. None of them are patriots. Exactly. I've been saying that, and yes, that is so true. That is so true.
Down there, where were you?
God, I feel bad. There's so many of these coming in. $20 from Anika. Thank you so much. Monica, thank you for coming a member. Sarah for the $5 and Celtic Warrior for the $10. We have Vicky giving $4. And DJ or D Major is asking if this will spread to other cities, and I'm afraid it probably will, to be honest. Wow.
Check out tear gas. Don't push, don't run.
Oh, they're throwing tear gas in now. Holy shit.
Okay.
For what reason?
God damn.
Okay, shouldn't do that. I don't like that.
Holy fuck. What's good?
Cat Molo says, go home, regroup, wear all USA attire and flags with the optics. Don't let them dictate the story.
When'd you get here?
Kathia Lopez says, I wish I was there right now. This is not the USA that I grew up in. My heart is both sad and infuriated. I am sad and infuriated too, but I'm so grateful those protesters are there.
Yeah. All right, look at that.
Thank you, Renee,
That's
for
crazy.
the $5.
Nice to meet you, man. Gators Daily. That's nice of her.
Why don't we go to where we're
What?
Testimonial says,
Oh,
riots
shit.
can lead to martial law and be real
fuck are you
peaceful.
doing
Just
here?
fight for justice and justice for all. Yeah, I don't think there's any rioting happening.
Good to see you too,
Thank you,
man.
Nurse Recon, for the $20. Jeez, so generous. Everyone's being so generous.
We're being apolitical. Yeah, we're being apolitical out here. Yeah, I just wanted to see the beautiful downtown Los Angeles. Hey, hi. Hi.
He's kind of funny.
I'm sorry, that's all I gotta say.
All right,
I'm
nice.
a big fan.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
YouTube blocked your message. Beyond extinction, what could you have written that would make YouTube block your message? I can have a couple of ideas in my head.
Received the worst.
But you
of it.
say, so let's just say this, protect yourself and peacefully protest. Yes, great message. And thank you so much for the $50.
That's all I gotta say.
There you go. You got it.
Thank you, I
I'm
appreciate
desperate
you.
to know what you wrote.
Was I not saying put this here? That's all I gotta say. Bye.
Bye, guys. Let's go. Let's go see if we can get a better shot.
Yeah, yeah. Yo, tag me.
All right, let me see where
Pick
else
me
are
up.
we.
I need to aura farm. Thank you, Goat. Thank you. I know I'm in
All right, well, the
good hands.
AP's live stream is down. So we have lost the AP. Do you want to stay on this, or do you want to go to CNN or MSNBC? We're not going to do this scientifically. If I see a lot of CNN and MSNBCs, we'll switch, or we can just stay on this. Here, stay.
You didn't get tear gas and shit? Come on, man.
This is fine. Okay.
Yeah. It happens. It's fucking crazy as shit. Yeah. Yo. I came to experience all the
Okay, let's see
taxes I
here.
pay for.
Yeah, I
Where'd
think
you
this is
go?
more interesting.
Fucking
CNN and
chemical
MSNBC
weapons
doesn't
being
have anyone in the
deployed
crowds.
on my neighbors. It's great. Love living in America. Land of the free. Home of the brave. Hi.
Thank you for the 10 Canadian dollars. Thank you for the $2.
Oh, hi. Nice to see you again.
It's a shame our people can't stay civil. They are just making the racists hate us more. I think they're being civil. I mean, I didn't like seeing spray painting, but it seems pretty civil to me. Joyce says Trump will start a civil war to deflect from the Epstein files. I mean, this does feel like a partially that. And Thomas says love from Democrats.
Professor of Religion and Liberation Studies. He was like amazing. His name is Eric Martin. He was fired for protesting at the encampments. He was arrested there.
Which school?
UCLA.
That's crazy.
He works at LMU right now. Yeah, we're trying to get him. I don't know, something. Yeah. But thank you guys. Yeah. You want a picture with the sun?
Yeah.
Thank you, Hassan. You're the best. Oh, also, I'm Salvadoran. I know a thing or two about Bukele and stuff.
Yeah, I don't like the graffiti either.
Thank you.
I'm trying.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
You're doing the Lord's work.
Have a good one. I can't get the fucking dumbass take the Asmongold had out of my mind. It was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. Being like, oh, if you ever see protests where there's other countries' flags being waved, you know you're in America. It's like, yeah, dumbass, it's a diverse country. You know? Also, not much to feel proud about right here.
Magical Game asks, does anyone know how we can donate to help people ICE has kidnapped or disappeared? It's a great question. I actually don't know.
As a reaction to
If anyone knows, I will put it up in the chat. I'm going to look. All right, everyone's saying ACLU.
What's good? What's good?
Let's go inside. Let's go inside.
Nice to meet you. As I was saying,
They just showed protesters being beaten on CNN. I'm
police
not seeing that.
militarization. Oh, what did he say? I'm trying to pull up. Yeah, tell him to pull up, dude. Endless police militarization, tear gas being deployed.
Oh,
Why?
yeah,
Because people are
actually.
rightfully protesting. Their neighbors
Let's just
getting
go
fucking
there.
kidnapped.
Now on the exit, people back without hitting anybody. It is, and we've been seeing versions of that all day. You've seen the FN 303, which is a pepper ball rifle that fires pepper balls. You saw while they were clearing this highway, they were firing them into the ground to get the gas to bounce back up so that they could use it to push people back without hitting anybody with one. But they've also been firing between on the street. I don't know what the CHP is using on the highway. Some of these sponge rounds, or as we call them, rubber bullets.
Oh, yeah, look
40
at that.
millimeters. And again,
Holy
you see
shit.
a flash here breaking out where somebody has moved on the officers with a smoke device that was sent their way, and they're taking that person into custody. But they've got them now on the exit, and they want to push them up that exit back into the street. This, of course, has been made more difficult by, as you see,
things continue to unfold in Los Angeles this afternoon. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Oh my God. All right, let's go back to.
We moved back when the flashbangs exploded right above us.
This is insane.
We would never do anything illegal.
No, never.
Obviously. What's up, man?
All right, I missed some of these when I was watching.
Nice to meet you.
All right, Forbes is streaming a different angle. I will look at that. Christina, thank you for the $20. Magpie, thank you for all who's there. Please, no vandalism. I agree. No vandalism. It does not help the cause. Ariel with the 50 euros. Oh my gosh. There's no racism, no Trump, no Fox News. Support Ukraine. Yes, support Ukraine. Ukraine. Lava Ukraine. I'm going to try to see if I can find that Forbes angle for us. Yes, and thank you for the 8K people who are here with us right now.
I don't know.
All right, let's watch. Actually, I'm gonna flip this over here. Forbes has they have they're showing, I guess, just more tear gas. Oh, this is actually old. I hate that. They do that. They will live stream old shit. That's from yesterday.
They're definitely like shooting them up. They're definitely shooting people up there too. See?
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Sean?
Like they could literally fucking light on fire.
Can you grab me
They could
water?
light the trees on fire. Just dry vegetation. Yeah.
Christina says, the Germans have already told us this is how Nazi Germany started. We need to listen. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm gonna do it. No. Hey, you want to take it? Here.
Jeff wants a water too. Sorry, there's only one for me, Jeff.
Can I take a picture with you? Is there a message out there?
For sure.
All right. What's up?
All right, I'm gonna
getting more updates on the family of Kilmar Rodrigo Garcia in the days ahead. Thank you so much. Thank you. We're going to fit in a quick break and bring you more on this breaking news. We'll be joined by New York City mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani next. This is the Weekend Primetime.
Oh my God, New York City mayoral candidate.
A
Okay.
booking process, which could result in somebody being released or somebody being held for a little bit while.
I want to
longer.
know what makes this
As for
assembly
what happens
unlawful.
when the CHP gets to the top of the off ramp or the on ramp here, yeah, there's a good chance they'll hand this off to the LAPD. But I believe Lolita Lopez is right there near Los Angeles and Aliso streets, or was. It looked like there were not.
Jay Shoa,
efforts
thank
going
you.
on
The
to clear
$20
people
says
out of the
pigs could
streets
cause
the way
another
that we're
wildfire
seeing
with those bangs.
It happening
Yeah.
on the freeway surfaces right now. So the CHP may get to the top of that off ramp and be done.
April says, thank you
Eric, as we
for
watch
doing this,
these
Keith. Keep up
shots
the good
here,
fight. Thank you for being
This is
here.
all in response to ongoing federal immigration enforcement. I don't want our viewers to lose sight of why these protests have been happening. And that's not that's not to justify some of the violence that we're seeing against officers. But do you think that this will have any impact on the federal government's response here in Los Angeles County, given that at every turn they're going to seemingly see protests like this every single day? We know that President Trump is adamant these will continue. We've heard the borders are Tom Homan on NBC News saying these will continue, but this is going to get increasingly difficult day in, day out as these enforcement operations continue.
Yeah, as we were talking about earlier, I mean, this puts local law enforcement in a really difficult position because, as we've been covering and have described, local police agencies have made it policy in the state of California to steer clear of any kind of immigration enforcement. The message is that's the federal government's job, that's not our job. And the rationale behind that has always been local police need to have the trust of the community in order to do their jobs. They need people to call 911. They need people to be witnesses.
Says, hey, Keith and everyone, thanks for being here today. I start next week with Indivisible as Newswatch for calls to action. How am I doing more? Congratulations, Krista. Let's get some W's in the chat for Krista, and thank you so much for the 9. Or thank you so much for being a member. Thank you, Rolf, for the 5 memberships.
Directed at the decisions of the federal government, and yet the local police are the ones that are trying to deal with the crowd here, trying to deal with the freeway. And in many people's minds, it might be difficult to separate those two issues. You have the rage at the immigration and the federal decisions, and then you have local police appearing to do work, law enforcement work, putting hands on people, shoving people around, sometimes taking people to jail. And it has the appearance of being at the behest of what the federal agents are doing.
Says,
and,
I can't put it up here, but I'm just going to read it from
heard more directly from some
Bro,
of our
why don't you go live more often? Because it's a lot of work, and sometimes interesting stuff isn't happening.
They want the public to hear about this, and it's an intractable
But I do like going
situation.
live.
The
I like being
CHP
here with all you.
People just sit on the freeway all day. The LAPD cannot.
All blue states need to think about the Collexit.
While businesses and buildings are vandalized, and there's
if you choose a clown, you wake up in a circus, a dangerous circus.
And
yes.
People could get hurt and all of that. There's some level of responsibility to maintain order. And again, the flip side of this is it carries the
ABC helicopter live stream. Oh, let's go check that out.
Before, in this moment, it carries the appearance that local police are somehow involved in the federal immigration mission because, after all, this demonstration wouldn't be here if it weren't for the decisions that are being made about how to use federal law enforcement.
At Aliso ramp to the, let's see, those are the southbound lanes of the 101 freeway. And this giant crowd has kind of come to a halt right there. I would say that's probably a couple hundred people. And CHP has indeed kind of stalled there for now. CHP, in effect, has succeeded at their goal. They closed both sides of the 101
Sandy says,
freeway.
devastating. Let the world see the reality. Thank you, Keith. This Canadian appreciates your devoted coverage. Stay safe, all. Well, thank you for being here, and I'm also incredibly devastated by this. I wish we didn't have to be here right now.
Ramp and get them on
Caroline with donating $20 says, as a Gen Xer, I need you playing some Ice Cube, Fuck the Police in your background, considering the setting. Very apropos. Yeah, well, I will get copyright stricken for that, but we certainly can say it in the chat.
From the
Fuck the
CHP
police.
special response team that are here at the scene now. Those are those special CHP officers that are specially trained in these SWAT tactics, and they have the right gear, they have the gas masks, and they have the tools to deal with large crowds. As you can see,
Crisis just joined and asked what's happening. Well, what's happening is that
there you can see
Donald Trump has invoked not the Insurrection Act, but he's invoked some. I forget what it is, Title 10, where he can send National Guards into California. He has militarized what was a peaceful protest, and we are watching the events unfold and making sure that we are witnesses to what is unfolding.
CHP will probably have a.
Did I get that right? Did I miss anything?
Wagon or another large vehicle to put these folks in for processing, and then take into jail after that.
Yeah, we saw those people being marched down the ramp and
yeah, absolutely no reason for the National Guard.
Vehicles which are either under the overpass, protected under there, and they'll load them up and then drive them off the surface of the 101. But some order is being restored here to the freeway, and excuse me, and we will see how this plays out. But there is a logjam there on the on-ramp at the bottom of your screen as the CHP is continuing to slowly press this crowd back to the top, up to Los Angeles Street or Main Street, and make their way back and clear the entire roadway. Again, we are waiting word from
this just seems like a normal protest to me. I mean, like maybe it got a little out of line, but this does not warrant militarizing
from former Vice President Kamala
California,
Harris,
militarizing LA. It does not. It's so far away from that.
Social media, quote, Los Angeles is my home.
And I said this on a, I said this on my video that came out this morning. Say it again. It's so telling that Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell were begging Donald Trump to send the National Guard when the insurrectionists were breaching the Capitol, and he didn't. They were asking for 2 hours. And a peaceful protest happens where maybe there's a small, there's, of course, you get random people involved. There's going to be some bad actors.
Essential in the fight for justice.
Does not warrant
mayor and governor have
sending the National Guard
in defense of our immigrant neighbors have been overwhelmingly peaceful. I continue to support the millions of Americans who are standing up to protect our most fundamental rights and freedoms. A mention there of being mostly peaceful. I guess that's an unmentioned condemnation of violence, but not a direct condemnation of that violent and tactics.
I've never heard this before, but when it gets dark, it's on like Donkey Kong. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's definitely going to change overnight.
Bottles, and as we saw from ABC News' Matt Gutman, rocks and chunks of concrete being hurled at these officers who are trying to clear the situation.
I'm just going through all these.
We did see rocks and
go to AS. I don't know what that is.
Thrown at vehicles.
Hi from Ireland, watching your country turn into fascism the same way Germany did in the 1930s. This is why history is important in school. Oof.
As we were covering this live today.
Philip says, do you see the tanks arrive in Washington by rail right out of Nazi Germany? Elon did. Errol was a guest of President Putin today. I did see that. Elon's dad was a guest of President Putin. No one talking about that one. Could all this be part of June 14 protest to scare people? Well, they're not going to scare me. We're protesting.
With that tear gas canister, in fact.
But yeah, I don't know if you all saw that, but Elon Musk's dad was went to a fascist. Truly was a fascist. Is what Anna Applebaum called it, a fascist.
I'd say at least a dozen
conference
from this particular group has
been
arrested, taken into custody, and removed from
was invited by Putin. Anyway,
this has continued face to face.
Eric says, thanks for all you do. LA is my home, and I'm now on the East Coast for 12 years now. It's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
They want to regain control of the roadway.
All right, let's go
the
over here.
Officers are still in tactical gear down on the surface itself.
Covering everything. Amazing local reporter Sergio Olmos.
Oh, Taylor.
I've heard of
Taylor Lorenz on Hassan's channel.
Nice to meet you in person.
I'm going to text her.
I heard you got hit a little bit. How's it feel? It's all good? No. Just a little flashbang. I saw a dude named Isaiah. He showed me he got hit in the arm with a rubber bullet and in the ass. It is crazy. The welds are like
I know. Well, we have no coverage, but I think backpacks are fine. I don't think they're shooting people.
Oh, they're definitely.
Well, they're shooting rounds down there.
No, they're shooting up too, indiscriminately.
All right, someone watched my video earlier. Keith, quick quiz. What does 4A mean in sports? I don't know what it means, but I know we say quad A or 4A now. I did not know that before, so I learned something today. You teach me something.
I was at Deco Den. Judy Cinderella's Deco is decorating while protests were unfolding, and then I wasn't even looking at chat. I come out, I'm like, Trump wants to declare martial law. I'm like, oh my god.
I was just asking Sergio. I mean, I think they're just going to be doing this like all day. I don't think they'll turn out until the end.
Yeah.
I'm gonna text Taylor and see, because I can send her a live stream link, I think. And if they have service, maybe she can come on and talk to us.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty actively putting people in here already.
Yeah. Where
Wow, Scott donating $100, saying, I knew California would be the main target eventually. Of course, it would be during Pride. Scared is coming to the Bay Area. Time to buy riot defense gear instead of Pride wear. California, rise up. Come join us, Keith. Thanks as always for your coverage and chat. It keeps me sane. Well, thank you for being here, Scott. Can we get some W's in the chat for Scott, who just gave $100? It's so generous. Thank you so much, Scott.
I think I want to do something out here in LA, but I don't have the ability to speak like that. You have like a really good ability to just like communicate ideas. I sucked at first.
All right, we're going to go to Mayor Karen Bass, who is now giving a press conference.
And workplaces, when you tear parents and children apart, and when you run armored caravans through our streets, you cause fear and you cause panic. And deploying federalized troops is a dangerous escalation, but we need to be real about this. This is about another agenda. It's not about public safety. There's clearly no plan, and there is clearly no policy. I want the people of Los Angeles to know that we stand with all Angelenos, no matter where you were born. The First Amendment right gives you the ability, again, to protest peacefully. But it does not give you the right to be violent, to create chaos, or to vandalize property. And that will not be tolerated. So I call on all Angelenos to continue expressing your right, your anger, your outrage, but to do it peacefully. And I just have to say that all of you were there Friday. Everybody knows what happened Friday. A workplace, several workplaces were targeted and raids took place. Now, in the beginning, the administration said they were just looking for dangerous felons, violent people. It's hard to say that that's what they found at a workplace or in a Home Depot parking lot. When this happens, it terrifies people. It sends a sense of fear and chaos in our city. And you well remember a few years ago in the last administration that kids were afraid to go to school, parents were afraid to go to work. This impacts all of our city. You can't terrify the workforce, and then expect for people to get the jobs done. So if you think about a father that went into a factory and now his family doesn't know where he is, the detainees have not been allowed to speak to legal counsel. That is a marked departure from what has happened in the past. When you think of a mother that might be working in a household, taking care of children on another side of town, that impacts that family as well as her family. And so this is something that I think should not be happening in our city. And I join with the governor in appealing to the administration to rescind the order to federalize the National Guard and allow the National Guard to come back.
YouTube didn't block it. Wow. Beyond Extinction Love. Let's call you BEL. BEL. Thank you for the $50. There's some W's in the chat for BEL. Saying, where is Congressman Gomez right now? Well, YouTube blocked this message. Thank you, Keith, for showing the truth. Well, thank you for being here. And I don't know where Congressman Gomez is, but we are here and we are paying attention. So thank you so much for your generosity, and let's keep paying attention.
Sure. Well, I think that basically they were overrun. But what is happening now is that the freeway is cleared. The California Highway Patrol, as you know, is in charge of the freeways. So they have moved all of the protesters back. They still might be there, but they are beginning to be dispersed. But LAPD is on the perimeter, so LAP is actively involved. You know that there were hundreds of protesters on the freeway and thousands of protesters off the freeway. So there is a joint collaboration going with the CHP, the LAPD, and then frankly the National Guard. But you also know that the National Guard is deployed to protect federal property. So there is a National Guard troops in Westwood at the federal building and also here downtown.
Next question. Mayor, have you reached out directly to the federal government, or is this you doing so right now with the media here? Have you tried to reach out?
No, my disappointment is I've been talking to the federal government for days. I was hoping to prevent this situation from happening. I was trying to encourage the administration that if they deployed the National Guard in Los Angeles, it would create a sense of chaos. It's the last thing our city needs. Our city is still trying to recover from the wildfires. And you just think about how so many people were impacted by that. And that's an example of where the administration was helpful. And to go from that situation to where we are now is just really tragic. And I think it's so unfortunate. It's the last thing Los Angeles needs.
When you say you've reached out to the federal government, do you have any?
I'm just gonna read this real fast. The non-lethal weapons they're using killed someone at the Red Sox game, according to Philip, and during the World Series, hit her in the head with them, and think it was now declared illegal to use them in Boston. Wow.
To cover this, what is going on in Los Angeles, and continue listening to this press conference from Mayor Karen Bass, streaming on abc7.com and the ABC7 Los Angeles app.
Well, I'm worried about everybody. I'm worried about members of law enforcement. I'm worried about the safety of the people who are peacefully protesting. I'm worried about...
Oh.
No, I'm never afraid to lay it on thick. Like with my 100% beef.
All right, let's go.
Imagine. So many people were impacted by that, and that's an example of where the administration was helpful. And to go from that situation to where we are now is just really tragic, and I think it's so unfortunate. It's the last thing Los Angeles needs.
When you say you reached out to the federal government, do you have any to President Trump?
No, I did not reach out to President Trump directly. I spoke to his chief of staff. I talked to Tom Homan. I talked to the U.S. Attorney. So I've talked to several members of the administration.
Next question, Matthew. Yeah, I know you've been watching this protest. First off, what do you see when you're watching this? And I know that you've mentioned being worried about the safety of the protesters, but are you also worried about members of law enforcement in the middle of this?
Well, I'm worried about everybody. I'm worried about members of law enforcement. I'm worried about the safety of the people who are peacefully protesting. I'm worried about the businesses that might get vandalized. I'm worried about the vandalism that took place around the federal building. All of that. We do not need to see our city torn apart. And the idea that the federal government that should be assisting us is a contributing factor, I think is very tragic. When I see the protesters, I know that so many people are affected by this. Their families are affected by this. People are terrified.
How do you think that vandalism impacts the overall message of the protest?
Well, I mean, I first of all, I think protests need to be peaceful, period. And anytime it deteriorates into violence, that is a problem, and it absolutely messes with the overall message.
Next question right here in the white.
Yeah, hi, Mayor. George with Reuters. My question is, can you share a little bit about the conversations you've had with the governor, and how long you expect for the National Guard to actually be in?
You know what? Thanks for asking me that, because we're hearing all sorts of information. We're hearing that the raids could continue. We're hearing that the National Guard is going to be here. So it's uncertain. But that's exactly the problem. Because we don't need in this city to go to sleep tonight and wake up in the morning and find out about people running through Home Depot parking lots being chased by ICE officers, or people going to work, or children at school. So we don't need any of that in our city right now. Our city's trying to heal.
All right, we're trying to get reporter Taylor Lorenz to call in live. We're going to see if she has service to do it.
From the federal government. If people get violent, if people break the law, they will be subject to arrest and they will be held accountable. It's as simple as that. So peaceful protest is what is needed. Peaceful protest is a part of our American tradition.
Right here. Mayor, last night the U.S. Attorney seems resolute that these raids will continue regardless of what's happened over the last 2 or 3 days. In your conversations with him, has there been any kind of attempted compromise or somehow lowering the temperature, at least will things cool off locally if they want to continue, or are they just doing it regardless of how everyone else feels?
Well, I mean, I think what we see now is they're doing it regardless of how anyone else feels. My conversation with the U.S. Attorney, though, was not focused on that.
We're going to go with Frank?
Yeah, I have a question.
All right. Wow. It looks like we actually have Taylor here. Can you hear me, Taylor?
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me? Do you have AirPods? Do you have the AirPods or no? Hello?
Keith, hi!
Hi, how are you?
I can't see you, but can you hear me?
I can
you
hear
guys
you.
hear
Yes.
me
Can you
okay?
hear me? Yeah, we can hear you. I guess
Yeah,
just let
sorry,
us
I look
know,
like
like,
shit.
no, you're totally fine. I guess,
I'm
you know,
downtown,
everyone's,
like right where they're pulling people off the 101. They had people like coming up the highway while people were on the highway. They're just, by the way, they're just shooting like flashbangs. That's what that noise is. And now they've pushed everyone. Now they're somebody did fireworks. Anyway, now they're pushing everybody out, basically to get them off the highway.
does it feel like it looks from our vantage point, it looks very peaceful. It looks very peaceful from our vantage point.
Peaceful. It's just the cops. It's the cops that are not peaceful. The cops are the ones shooting. Sergio Almas from Cal Matters, he's an amazing local reporter, got shot in the chest with a pepper, like a pepper thing. And they're shooting a lot of non-lethal rounds into people. People have like welts on them. And they're shooting those pepper balls. And then they had tear gas earlier today. They were just shooting tear gas into the crowd, or I guess something. David Ferrier got hit with that. I don't know if you can see. People are setting off fireworks. I don't know.
So that's from the protesters.
Hold on.
So that's
I'll
from the
go over there.
protesters.
I'll go.
Yeah, let's see it.
I don't know if it's the protesters or the cops. I think it's like a firework. Hold on. The cops have been firing like flashbangs. Hey Sergio. Hey Sergio, tell Keith, this is Sergio. We're on Keith Edwards' stream. Sergio's a fantastic local reporter for Cal Matters.
Hey,
so
guys.
why don't you tell them what's going on?
Well, I think LAPD are firing less lethals because there's fireworks over here. I think we're hearing less lethals. Well, worth it.
Got it. We appear to having a service issue. I mean, there are a lot of people in one area. That tends to happen.
Oh, sorry. Hey guys.
We can hear you again.
Hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Well, I guess, like, what do you want the folks to know? Because we're watching this. CNN has their own POV.
You can't hear me anymore.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Oh, shit.
Taylor? Oh, okay. Well, we lost her. Well, that was awesome. I'm glad we could at least get a little bit of insight from her. All right, let's go back to the mayor. It's crazy that I don't know if you remember what she said, but she said that she feels as though it's the police who are instigating the protesters. The protesters are being peaceful and the police are the ones who are instigating. Anyway, I'm going to see if we can get her back with better service a bit later.
Peaceful what was happening. It's not peaceful for people to be on the highways. It's not peaceful for people to throw rocks or bottles. That's not peaceful.
So then how do we reconcile the difference? Obviously, there's frustration with the Trump administration and the feds, but as LAPD and the Sheriff's Department try to distance themselves from the actions of these immigration actions and work being done.
All right, I'm texting with Taylor right now, and she says they're firing rubber bullets at us. Holy shit.
Distance yourself, but also kind of try to keep it peaceful at a time where it's anti-authority.
And let me just tell you that I don't think there's any equivocating.
The cops are being crazy,
nonviolence.
she says.
And if you are going to entertain violence, if you are going to try to take over a freeway, then you are going to suffer the consequences of doing that. I don't think that LAPD, the sheriff, and certainly not myself, are not shying away from statements like that.
Any details about what the National Guard mission is going to be?
I'm sorry?
Any details about what the National Guard mission is going to be within LA? Where they're going to be deployed?
Well, what I know right now is that the mission of the National Guard is to protect federal property and the federal building, which is why you have only seen them there. You have not seen them out in the community or anything like that. And just in terms of, to close, to wrap up, I just have to say that, again, our city has been through a lot since the beginning of the year. And now thinking that there is a large percentage of our city that is terrified, that is not going to know if they go to sleep tonight and they go to work or they go to school, will that be the last day they do that? Will that be the last day they see their family? We can't have this in our city. Los Angeles is a city of immigrants where 50% of the population is Latino. A percentage of the populations are from Asian countries and from all over the world. And we embrace all Angelenos. It doesn't matter where you came from or when you got here. But the most important thing right now is that our city be peaceful. And so protests and expressing your, fears, your beliefs is appropriate to do, but it is just not appropriate for there to be violence. And I don't want people to fall into the chaos that I believe is being created by the administration completely.
Taylor says cops are shooting at people trying to walk away and to check out Hassan's stream. So we're going to go over there.
Listening to Mayor Karen Bass there reacting to what has been unfolding in Los Angeles.
For all the nerds who only understand things from the point of view of movies, it's like Andor.
And we got YouTuber Jack Cocciarella who's going to be joining us in a few minutes.
Excuse me. Like, what happens if we try to leave? I don't know. Do we just not? Are we not allowed to leave? Oh, so sorry. Perhaps. KTLA. Nice. Oh, right here? I know.
Want to go up there?
I mean, I think we're cooked.
Yeah, you might be a little cooked.
We're cooked.
I mean, we can try going back down that way.
Can I take a video? Can I take a picture with you?
The move is called a bottleneck. What is that?
Thank you for being out here with us. Thank you for being out here with us. Thank you so much. Viva la raza. I don't want to take a video. I just wanted to show you this. I'm trying to show anyone who can get it out. I had the Palestinian flag with the Shahada on it, and they purposely
shot you in the arm?
Yes, they said get the girl with the tan backpack. My comrade overheard. There's a tan backpack, and they shot me point blank. Direct.
Have you seen a field medic?
Yeah, and I'm all
Are you
slimed
okay?
up. I think it might be fractured or sprained, but I'm okay. I have cousins in Syria. They go through it way worse. I still have 2 feet, so I'm gonna keep going.
All right.
But I just really wanted. Thanks for letting me show you that. It's like
No problem.
yeah,
Be safe.
they just shot me point blank. So
Wow.
Yeah.
You hearing that? That's fucking insane. Shot her point blank.
Bye, thank you for everything.
That's wild.
Did that break already?
What if we go this way and around?
God damn.
Fire.
What they're firing at us.
What's on?
What's up? What's up?
We go up those stairs and up there.
Up those.
All right, I'm gonna get my laptop, which is streaming this for us, is about to die, so I'm gonna just get my charger real fast. Thank you. My mom says I am doing a great job. Thank you, Mom, for being here and for being supportive. I've got the best mom, so thank you for thanks for that, Mom. It's not often that your mom gets to come see you at work. She does.
Can, man.
I just put it in my pocket.
I have 3 things in my pocket. Why are they running? Oh, they're burning a car.
Oh shit.
Up there. Let's go take a look. Marsh, if you feel unsafe and if you don't want to do this any longer, it's okay. We can leave.
All right, we got Jack
As long as
on
you're
the
cool as a
stream.
cucumber, we're here.
I'm trying to avoid getting.
Jack, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jack. Well, we got Jack. This is a big deal. We got a YouTuber, nearly 1 million followers. Jack, how do you say your last name, Jack?
There are so many different ways at this point. I really accept them all because I say it in like the broken Italian English. Cocciarella is how my family usually says it, but I've been told by like actual close Italian family that that's probably wrong. It's a little closer to like Cocchiarella or something like that. But I can't do that to people. Have all these expectations for the ridiculous last name. As long as people don't like get phallic with it, I'm totally fine.
All right, I say Cocciarella, so it sounds like I've been doing it right.
You're doing it right. We're all good then.
Well, thank you for joining the stream. There's about 6,200 people watching right now, and many people are very excited you're here. I'm sad that we have to be talking during this moment, but wanted to get your thoughts about the National Guard being brought into LA. We've been watching Hassan Piker's live stream as well as coverage on CNN and MSNBC. And it seems like a largely peaceful protest. So why is Donald Trump bringing in the National Guard? What do you think is going on?
There's a lot of different takes on what form of how the Trump presidency is just usually carried out being offered here. Like what I've been talking about on my show is there's always like one of like three things. It's either intimidation, it's either destruction, or it's distraction. But it seems like it is all of those things right now. I don't know what Donald Trump is trying to distract from, if it's his budget, if it's Elon, if it's him falling down the stairs. But clearly there's a lot to deflect from right now. But they're just trying to create a stir. You know, you were talking about this. I was talking about this really early on into the Trump presidency when it was clear that they weren't going to be hitting the arrest and deportation quotas, the 2,000-3,000 people a day that they wanted. You know, you recently covered like screaming Stephen Miller mad that they weren't hitting those numbers. And they're not doing so because border crossings are down since about 6, 7, 8 months before the Biden presidency ended. So we were solving this problem. They don't have enough people to arrest. And so all they can do at this point is make these big spectacles to pretend like Donald Trump is exercising some sort of strength. That's really all this is about. It just goes back to publicity with the administration more so than anything. They got the Fox News cabinet. And of course, Trump is a reality TV person himself. But that's really just all this is. It's so gross to see these scenes, reminiscent of 2020, when people are just standing. They're standing and they're standing in their own communities. They haven't gone anywhere. They're not like traveling to one central place. It's all across LA and people are just standing in protest. And you're obviously seeing the instigation, which I'm sure is at the direction of Trump or I don't know, Pete Hegseth. I just don't really know what to say at this point other than this is what they want. They want people to be afraid. They want them to be hurt. Of course, it's been peaceful this whole time with very, very minor exceptions sprung on by the instigation. So it's just a shame to see.
Yeah, I mean, Hassan just actually talked to someone who said that she was, someone shot a rubber bullet at her point blank on purpose. So there's definitely something going on there. And I also on MSNBC, a reporter made this really great point where Trump is kind of straddling this line where he's like, crossings are lowest they've ever been. We're finally a secure we're a secure country again, but then he would also say that we're suffering from an extreme invasion. So it's like, bitch, which is it?
They can't make up their mind again. Like, and I think I've heard similar reporting or a similar take. It's like, I don't want to give them, credit, but it's like, it seems like the policies that started under the Biden administration, where we saw very significantly reduced border crossings, are continuing on. And yeah, it's not an invasion. They can't really pick any numbers. What they're leaning on now to say that it's an invasion is they're like, we saw some flags. Like that's what they're doing. We're doing flag talk now. That's the
the Mexican flag's a big deal.
Is there a Mexican flag in Los Angeles? And what is that name, Los Angeles? Where does that come from? Is that new? It's like this is ridiculous. This is what we're doing. Did you see the guy on Fox who said that like Kamala Harris is at fault for this because she might be the Democratic nominee in 2028, and so she's spurring it on?
Oh my God!
As like a failed leader in California, like what is like? They're just grasping for straws at this point. I don't even think I really don't think the Fox crowd is all that into this. They're trying to be, but again, they're doing like flag talk. I don't know how you can call this an invasion when it's just clear instigation by whoever Donald Trump is sending in.
Well, Timothy here says it's to instigate violence. It's to have an excuse for flexing his might. Trump wants to have martial law, the ultimate sign of strength. I mean, there has been reporting that has said that Trump feels like the Insurrection Act is like a superpower. And
he just needs to like find some way to get there. Like Adam Schiff said that in a tweet last night. I don't think this is, liberal media hyper, we're oh so crazy reaction. Like this is what elected officials are stating very clearly. How have you felt about Newsom's reaction? I just covered that he responded. He's asking, of course, for Trump to pull out the National Guard. He's saying that this is being escalated by the administration. I saw all the Democratic governors signed a letter. Do you think Gavin's doing enough right now?
I think there's not much he can do.
Yeah.
I don't know what people expect him to do. The president of the United States has a lot of power. The governor of California does not. And from what I've read and from what I understand, the governor has no power. If the president of the United States decides to send in the National Guard, the governor of California can't do anything about it. So I don't know what people want him to do in that respect. I think he could probably be out there with the protesters. That might be like, that could maybe just feel good. But
like, look, it's peaceful. Like we saw Maxine Waters, like she was out there being like, yeah, I'm trying to do oversight.
Yeah.
I'm standing here and nothing is happening. That's the shot that I saw from CNN outside the facility where we saw all these just like armed military guards. And it was just like, nothing's happening, but they have these huge rifles and these gigantic shields. Again, people are just standing. Like you can see Hassan right now. It's just people standing outside. I really don't know.
Yeah, it's peaceful. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
I do think, and I'm being serious about this. I don't know how you would do it, but I do think like California, New York, they could threaten, like, why not just stop sending their tax money to the federal government? How would that feel? You know, like you want this big, beautiful budget? Well, bitch, you can't afford it now.
I think we need to talk about that too, like a lot more. I don't know how many people are tapped into how much money is being sent back from Illinois and New York and California back to the federal government. Like, why can't we talk about, we always bring up, oh, these red states receive these federal subsidies, and sure, that's good. But also, as we're trying to make this argument that I think has been so central, really, as we approach some very important elections in New Jersey and Virginia, talking about like success in blue states, right? We want to talk about blue states being a place where people want to live, where we're fighting to lower the cost of living, where we're making, housing more affordable, public transit more accessible. I do think it's important. I think Newsom or someone else referred to California as like a donor state or like a giving state. I feel like we need to make that argument more as people want to just like shit on Democratic strongholds. To be like, we're giving you guys, like, if we just kept all of our dollars, I'm sure maybe like the reinvestment in the states could be a little bit better. I don't know, but it's like, how about we talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, Jack Carr here says that the blue state governors need to talk, get acquainted, will be fine without the red states, better off in many ways. Federal aid, blue states pay into that, receive less than paid. Just kind of making your point here. And then Gary says, can the army just say no to Trump? You're a wanker. I'm assuming you're from the UK, and take over the government on behalf of the 75% of Americans who didn't vote for this Nazi. I don't know, actually. I mean, obviously they're allowed to do whatever they want. They have free will, but I don't know. I don't think the army or the National Guard can carry through an illegal order. I think that's true, right?
No. And I think that a lot of what we're seeing, at least with recent data suggesting that military recruitment is up. Pete Hegseth has been touting that a lot. I think the same is true of ICE. This is kind of self-sorting. A lot of the people who are carrying out these ICE raids that are wearing their masks, which you can do if you're an ICE agent who needs to identify themselves. But if you're a protester who wants to cover your face from tear gas, you're not allowed to do that. That was something that was voted on. I just graduated, from anyone not familiar with my channel, but was voted on at Columbia, this idea that whatever was put forward for the students to vote on banning masks on campus. This is when the Trump crackdown started, and they were just like trying to push us to fall in line with the administration, but they wanted to ban them entirely, like medical masks, even for people with any sort of pre-existing condition. They wanted to ban that completely. So if people did in fact protest, that they could be easily identifiable and you could send their faces to the Trump administration. And of course, we like resoundingly voted against that. I think only like 5% voted for the proposal because it was just ridiculous. But this suggestion now, it's so funny with like the Palantir stuff and clearly these raids happening all over the place. Republicans all of the things that they always said Democrats were just itching to do, that George Soros so badly wanted to do, like create this police state when we monitor your speech and take photos of your face, and like the government holds this information. Like that's what Trump is trying to do right now. And they haven't said a word about it. The mask thing is really scary to me because it just represents like the larger direction that they're trying to move the country into. And it's like, of course, people are going to wear masks because you're tear gassing them. Like that's crazy. It's for no other reason than protection.
Yeah, I mean that is like when you just like step back for a second and you like kind of see the forest from the trees, and you think about how the Palantir thing is happening, sending the National Guard to a peaceful protest, attacking judges, and like all of the stuff that is happening, it's not good, to put it lightly. It's not good. It's not good.
It's bad. Like, agree. Yeah. I just like, it's difficult to find, Keith, you've been covering this for like, I know this protest has gone on, like the organizing that began, and we've seen similar protests. I expect them to happen in Chicago and New York in the coming days, but you've been covering this. I think you were the first person, at least on YouTube, to start talking about it. And, sometimes I feel this way where it's like, I don't really know what more we can say. Like you're saying, it's not good, it's bad. It's like, but what other way is there to frame such an insane and unprecedented situation, which again, we just continue to see playing out again and again, which is why I always find it important to just like ask any quote unquote sane Republican, whatever that even means at this point, like, how are you okay with this? How is the thing that you warned about that's now being carried out not something that you're raising any concern about? The violation of due process, the threats to elected officials. We were talking a couple months ago about the IRS going after people, going after tax exempt statuses. It's like, this is the invasion of privacy and the building of Trump's police state where no accountability is offered. In fact, the opposite. I posted a tweet yesterday responding to like one of these federal accounts talking about like anyone who harms a cop is going to murder, whatever they said. And it was just like, Donald Trump's administration, sure, started with the 1,500 pardons, and the pardons were awful. We got that. Yeah. But what it was more than anything is like the permission structure that begins the administration, right? It's like, if you do something that is illegal, that is like destructive to the country, as long as it's beneficial to Trump in any way, it's not just about storming the Capitol. He will have your back and you will ultimately be fine and not held accountable. Like that is the message that started the administration. And everyone has kind of fallen in line with that on the right because they think they have this permission structure. And it really trickles down, especially with these ICE agents. It's terrifying.
Well, I'll leave you with this. Canna Buddha says, Jack and Brian Tyler Cohen are Democratic puppets. Aw.
I'm very proud to be in the company of Brian Tyler Cohen. That means a lot. When you said Jack and Brian Tyler Cohen, it's like, oh, this is going to be so nice. It's like, well, get Keith in there
too.
It is
nice.
This is a great group of three. I do. Someone called me because of my hair yesterday. They said I look like a Muppet because about 50% of my comments are like, Jack, cut your hair. Or Jack,
by the way, we read every comment. We read almost every comment, just so you know. Be nice.
And sometimes they're hurtful. But someone's like, you look like a Muppet. I was like, I'm okay looking like a Muppet. I'm fine with that. And if you want to group me with Brian Tyler Cohen and say like, we're puppets of the deep state, this is another thing. And then I'm going to let you go back to doing your live, Keith. I don't want to completely take it over, but the like paid protester thing that is still going on. It's like, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people marching in Los Angeles. These are all paid protesters by George Soros. It's like, how can you take yourself seriously when Elon was literally handing out $1 million checks? Every Republican accusation is just an admission of the truth about them. It's crazy. Thank you for covering it. You have really been on this first. I think you've maybe, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I don't know if Adam or, Brett or Brian are tuning in. I think you've done the best job covering this. You've been doing an amazing job. You just got to find a way to mix Katie Miller into this, and we're just and then we can have a lot of fun with it.
She actually has tweeted something about it, so stay tuned for that.
Oh, video comment. Finally broke her silence.
Yeah,
really
she
excited
did.
to see what that'll be. Well, thank you so much for having me and let me join.
Thanks
Keith.
for coming on. I know everyone really appreciated it. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, thank you, Jack, for coming on in the live stream. It's nice to hear a fellow fighter for democracy talking about what's going on, and let's tune back in to Hassan, who apparently I heard that there was a car on fire and people are taking selfies in front of it. Jack Cacciarella.
People are shutting off the road, but it's totally fucking fine when they use the goddamn freeway as a staging ground so they can brutalize people up here. It makes no sense. It's all right when they do it. It's for a higher purpose. How you doing?
Good. You can see the Waymos?
We're just over there. I want to see the horses. Oh shit. Is that a Waymo? I think that might be the Waymo. Oh yeah.
They closed the freeway, yeah.
I'm like, the battery's gonna go. When that shit blows up, it's lithium battery fires are, they need specialized equipment to deal with. So I think that is, for the record, I do think that's fucking stupid to light a car on fire, especially an
Yeah,
electric
it's
vehicle.
stupid. Don't do that.
Make no mistake. It's not good practice.
Yeah, that's how the violence starts. Absolutely.
Where the horses at? Marty Trump, no president.
This is not going to be good, especially when it becomes night.
You don't know?
How we can actually defeat this fascism. There you go.
Okay, thanks. Oh my God, Chairman Bob! The chairman, he's still here. Seems like they're still tear gassing and rubber bulleting people over here.
All right, well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going
to let someone.
We're going to end it there. I need to make myself dinner and get myself ready for the week. I wasn't expecting to do this, but I'm grateful that I could have, that I could be here. And thank you all for being here and watching with me. I am going to be monitoring this. And so if anything happens, we will be back here. I don't care if it's 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. We will be back here watching it live. So let's hope that it remains peaceful. It seems like it's about to get insane. That's kind of how it feels. But I hope I'm wrong, because if they're lighting a car on fire during the day, what are they going to do at night? It seems like this is about to, it's timber that's about to light. So I don't know. I hope that's not the case. But regardless, I will be watching it. Let's hope that it remains peaceful and that people disperse and Donald Trump doesn't get what he wants. But thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. If you are watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay, and I will talk to you all later. All right. Stay safe. Bye-bye.